The steady beep of the heart monitor pulled me from darkness. My eyelids felt like they were weighed down with concrete, but I forced them open anyway. White ceiling. Antiseptic smell. Hospital. My name is Kylie, and this wasn't where I was supposed to be. Oh, thank goodness, you're awake. A nurse rushed to my bedside, her face lighting up with relief. You've been out for nearly 3 weeks. 3 weeks? My throat felt like sandpaper as I tried to speak. Water? She helped me sip from a plastic cup, explaining how I'd been in a car accident. Head trauma, multiple surgeries, induced coma. The words washed over me like waves, but something felt off. Something was missing. Where's Adam? I managed to croak out. My fiancé should have been here. We were supposed to be planning our wedding, picking out flowers and arguing about centerpieces. The nurse's smile faltered. I'll get the doctor, she said, hurrying out. I spotted my phone on the bedside table and reached for it with trembling fingers. 27 missed calls. Hundreds of messages. But as I scrolled through them, my blood ran cold. Congratulations to the happy couple. Beautiful ceremony. Caitlin makes such a gorgeous bride. My sister's name jumped out at me again and again. With shaking hands, I opened my social media feed. The first photo hit me like a physical blow. There was my sister Caitlin, radiant in a white dress, my dream dress, standing next to Adam. My Adam. They were cutting a wedding cake, both beaming at the camera. No, I whispered. No, no, no. Kylie? My best friend Olive appeared in the doorway, her face etched with concern. Oh God, you're finally awake. I came as soon as they called. Tell me this isn't real. I held up my phone, the wedding photo still glowing on the screen. Tell me this is some sick joke. Olive rushed to my side, grabbing my hand. I tried to stop it. We all did. But Caitlin, she convinced everyone you'd want the wedding to go on, that you'd want her to step in so Adam wouldn't be alone. She said it's what you would have wanted. What I would have wanted. My voice cracked. I wanted to marry him myself. How long have I been out? 3 weeks. Olive squeezed my hand. The accident happened the night before your final dress fitting. Caitlin took over everything while you were unconscious. She moved fast, Kylie. Really fast. A doctor entered then, clipboard in hand. Miss Sullivan, good to see you awake. How are you feeling? Like my sister stole my life while I was in a coma, I replied flatly. He cleared his throat awkwardly. Yes, well, let's focus on your recovery for now. Can you follow my finger with your eyes? As he ran through various tests, my phone buzzed with a new message. From my mother. Sweetheart, I just heard you're awake. I'm on my way. Your vitals look good. The doctor was saying, the swelling in your brain has resolved nicely. With some physical therapy, you should make a full recovery. When can I leave? He frowned. You've just woken up from a serious trauma. We need to monitor you for at least... When? A few days minimum, assuming no complications arise. I nodded, already forming plans. Olive, I turned to my friend. I need you to tell me everything. Every detail about what happened while I was out. Kylie, she hesitated. Maybe we should wait until you're stronger. No, I need to know now. Start with the accident. What exactly happened that night? Olive's expression darkened. That's the strange part. You were always such a careful driver, and the roads were clear that night. The police said it looked like your brakes failed, but when they investigated... A commotion in the hallway interrupted her. My mother burst in, tears streaming down her face. My baby! Oh, thank God. As she hugged me, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the window. Pale face, bandaged head, hollow eyes, but underneath the bruises and tubes, I saw something else. Determination. Mom. I pulled back to look at her. Where's Caitlin? Her smile faltered. She and Adam are on their honeymoon in Bali, at the resort you two had booked. Of course they were. My sister hadn't just stolen my fiancé. She'd stolen my entire planned future, right down to the honeymoon destination. I closed my eyes, remembering the last time I saw Adam. He'd kissed me goodbye as I headed out for errands, promising to finalize our wedding playlist while I was gone. "I love you," he'd said. "Drive safe." Opening my eyes, I met Olive's worried gaze. "Tell me more about those brakes. The mechanic said your brake lines were deliberately cut," Olive whispered, glancing nervously at the hospital room door. My mother had just left to get coffee, giving us a moment alone. "The police investigated, but they couldn't prove anything." I gripped my bedsheets tightly. "Who found me after the accident?" "Caitlin did. She said she was driving by and saw your car wrapped around the tree." Olive pulled out her phone. "But look at this. I took screenshots of everything while you were out." She handed me her phone, showing a series of text messages between Caitlin and Adam from the night of my accident. "Caitlin, it's done. Come quick." Adam, "Are you sure about this?" Caitlin, "Trust me. It's better this way. There's more." Olive swiped through photos. "These are from the weeks leading up to your accident. They were meeting behind your back." My hands trembled as I scrolled through image after image. Coffee shops, restaurant corners, secret rendezvous captured by security cameras that Olive had somehow obtained. "How did you get all this? Remember Quincy? The photographer who was supposed to shoot your wedding? He's been helping me investigate. He has connections everywhere, and he's worried about something else, too." Before she could elaborate, my mother returned with 2 steaming cups. "The coffee here is terrible, but it's better than nothing. Kylie, honey, have you called your father yet?" "Dad?" I hadn't thought about Ivan in weeks. He'd disappeared from our lives years ago, only resurfacing occasionally for major events. "Why would I call him?" Mom shifted uncomfortably. "He was at the wedding. He and Caitlin have been close lately." "Close?" I exchanged looks with Olive. "Since when does Caitlin talk to Dad?" "A lot has changed while you were—" Mom trailed off, looking guilty. "Maybe I should let them explain when they get back." My phone buzzed. A text from Adam. "Just heard you're awake. We need to talk." I showed it to Olive, who immediately grabbed the phone. "Don't respond. Not yet. We need to know more first." "Know more about what?" I demanded. "What aren't you telling me?" Olive leaned in close. "Quincy overheard something at the wedding. An argument between your dad and Caitlin. Something about telling the truth and real mothers." Mom suddenly stood up. "I should go. You need rest. And I have things to take care of." She kissed my forehead quickly and practically fled the room. "That was weird," I muttered, watching her retreat. "Since when does Mom run from family drama?" "Since your father showed up at the wedding with a manila envelope full of documents," Olive replied. "Quincy saw him trying to give them to Caitlin before the ceremony. She refused to take them. A nurse entered with my medication, interrupting our conversation. As she checked my vitals, my phone lit up again, this time with a call from Caitlin. "Don't," Olive warned, but I was already answering. "Hey, sis." Caitlin's voice dripped with fake concern. "Mom told me you're awake. How are you feeling?" "How am I feeling?" I kept my voice steady. "Well, let's see. I woke up from a coma to find out my sister married my fiancé. How would you feel?" "It's not what you think," she rushed to explain. "Adam was so lost without you. We all thought, we didn't know if you'd wake up. We were grieving, and one thing led to another." 3 weeks. I cut her off. "It took you 3 weeks to steal my entire life." "Kylie, please. Are you enjoying my honeymoon suite? The one I spent months planning? Make sure you try the couples massage. I hear it's amazing." Silence on the other end. Then, "We should talk when I get back. There's so much you don't understand." "Oh, I understand plenty, but you're right. We should definitely talk when you get back. Face to face." After hanging up, I turned to Olive. "Call Quincy. Tell him I need everything he has on my father and those documents. And I need to know exactly what happened to my brakes." "What are you planning?" I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "A proper welcome home party for the happy couple. They want to play happy families. Let's see how they handle some truth-telling of our own. Kylie. Olive hesitated. There's one more thing you should know. About the wedding photographer Caitlin hired to replace Quincy. What about them? They caught something on camera. Something between your dad and Caitlin right before the ceremony. Something that might explain everything. 3 days after waking up, I was finally discharged from the hospital. Olive drove me to her apartment, where Quincy was waiting with a laptop and stack of files. Welcome back to the land of the living, he said, giving me a gentle hug. Ready to see what I found? I settled onto Olive's couch as Quincy opened his laptop. Show me everything. First, the wedding photos. He pulled up a series of images. The replacement photographer sent these to me. We go way back. Look at this one, taken right before the ceremony. The photo showed my father and Caitlin in what appeared to be a heated argument. His face was red with anger, and he was holding up what looked like a birth certificate. Zoom in on that document, I instructed. Quincy enhanced the image. Though partially obscured, I could make out a date from 30 years ago, and a mother's name that definitely wasn't Rachel Sullivan. Holy shit, Olive whispered. Is that saying what I think it's saying? Your sister isn't your full sister, Quincy confirmed. According to these records, your father had an affair 30 years ago. Caitlin was the result. My head spun. Does my mother know? Based on what I've uncovered, she found out recently. That's why she's been acting so strange. Quincy pulled up more photos. Look at these texts I recovered from Adam's cloud backup. The messages painted a disturbing picture. Caitlin had been manipulating Adam for months before my accident, using the revelation about her true parentage to gain his sympathy. Caitlin, I just found out my whole life is a lie. I need someone to talk to. Adam, I'm here for you. Always. Caitlin, you're the only one who understands me, not like Kylie. There's more, Quincy said grimly. Security footage from the mechanic's shop where your car was serviced the day before your accident. The grainy video showed a familiar figure in a hooded jacket tampering with my car late at night. Can you enhance the face? I leaned forward. Don't need to, Quincy replied. Check out the timestamp, then look at this. He pulled up a credit card statement. Adam's card was used at the gas station next door 5 minutes later. My stomach lurched. He tried to kill me? Maybe not kill, Olive interjected, but definitely hurt you enough to get you out of the way. My phone buzzed. Another text from Adam. Please respond. We need to talk before we get back tomorrow. Tomorrow? Olive's eyes widened. They're coming back early? I stood up, pacing the room. Good. Gives us less time to prepare, but I'm done waiting anyway. Quincy, what else do you have? He pulled out a manila envelope. Your father hired a private investigator years ago. These are the results. DNA tests, surveillance photos, everything proving Caitlin's real mother is someone named Margaret Wells. She was your father's secretary. And where is she now? That's the interesting part. Quincy smiled. She lives 20 minutes from here, and she's willing to talk. An hour later, we pulled up to a modest house in the suburbs. A woman in her 50s opened the door. She had Caitlin's eyes. You must be Kylie, she said softly. I've waited a long time to meet you. Inside, Margaret served us tea with shaking hands. I never wanted to cause trouble, she explained. Your father paid me to stay away, but when Caitlin found me 6 months ago, how did she find you? She hired her own investigator. She was angry, demanding money, threatening to expose everything. When I couldn't pay what she wanted, she decided to take something else instead. Adam, I said quietly. Margaret nodded. She said if she couldn't have the perfect family growing up, she'd take yours instead. I tried warning your father, but by then it was too late. My phone buzzed again. A group text from Caitlin to the entire family. Surprise. We're hosting a reception tomorrow night to celebrate our return. Everyone's invited, especially you, Kylie. We have so much to discuss. Olive grabbed my hand. You don't have to go. Yes, I do. I turned to Margaret. Will you help me? She straightened her spine. What do you need? Come to the reception tomorrow. Bring every document, every photo, every piece of evidence you have. It's time everyone knew the truth. Kylie, Quincy warned, if you do this, there's no going back. They tried to kill me, stole my life, and thought I'd just fade away. I replied, my voice hard. Tomorrow night, they'll learn exactly how wrong they were. As we left Margaret's house, another text came through, this one from my father. Don't do anything rash tomorrow. There are things you don't understand. I showed it to Olive, who snorted. Bit late for fatherly concern, isn't it? Oh, I understand plenty, I muttered, typing a reply. And tomorrow, so will everyone else. My father was waiting outside Olive's apartment when we returned. He looked older than I remembered, his face lined with worry. We need to talk, he said, stepping forward. Alone? Olive squeezed my arm. I'll be right inside if you need me. I followed my father to a nearby park bench. The setting sun cast long shadows across his face as he pulled out a cigarette with trembling hands. I thought you quit, I said. I did. Started again the day of the wedding. He took a deep drag. You've been talking to Margaret. Funny how everyone seems to know her except Mom and me. He winced. I tried to protect you both. Protect us? I cut him off. By lying for 30 years? By letting Caitlin destroy my life? You don't understand what she's capable of, he said quietly. When she found out the truth, she changed, became obsessed with taking everything you had. And you just stood by and watched? He pulled out his phone, showing me a series of texts. She threatened to destroy your mother's reputation. Said she'd tell everyone Rachel knew about the affair all along, that she helped cover it up. Did she know about it? No. He sighed heavily. Your mother is the only innocent one in all of this. But Caitlin, she's good at twisting things, making people believe what she wants them to believe. Like she did with Adam? His face darkened. Adam was weak, easy to manipulate. When Caitlin told him about her tragic past, he ate it up. Started meeting her in secret, thinking he was just being supportive. And the accident? I didn't know about that until after. I swear, Kylie, when I found out... He showed me another text thread. Ivan. You tried to kill your own sister? Caitlin. I just wanted to hurt her enough to delay the wedding. Everything else just... happened. Ivan. I'm going to the police. Caitlin. Do that, and I'll destroy everyone you love, starting with Rachel. Why are you showing me this now? I demanded. Because tomorrow night, Caitlin's planning something big. She's going to announce that Rachel knew everything, claim she helped hide the affair. She's got forged documents, fake emails, everything. Mom would never, I know, but Caitlin's convinced half the family already. Your mother's sisters won't even speak to her. My phone buzzed. A text from Caitlin. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, sis. Wear something nice. It's going to be a night to remember. She's going to try to humiliate Mom in front of everyone, I realized. Yes, and there's more. He hesitated. Margaret. She's not well. Cancer. Caitlin's been using that too, threatening to tell everyone Margaret abandoned her, that she never wanted her. But that's not true. Margaret wanted to keep you both. I'm the one who paid her to stay away. His voice cracked. I've destroyed so many lives trying to keep this secret. I stood up. Then help me stop her. Come to the reception tomorrow. Bring every piece of evidence you have. Kylie. No more secrets, Dad. No more hiding. Back in Olive's apartment, Quincy was setting up audio equipment. Got something you need to hear, he said, pressing play. Caitlin's voice filled the room. Once Mom's reputation is destroyed, once everyone sees what a fraud she is, they'll have to accept me as the real victim here. Adam's voice responded. But the accident, we went too far. We did what we had to do, and tomorrow night we'll finish it. Olive stopped the recording. This was from their hotel room in Bali. Quincy hacked their smart speaker. Nice work, I said, then turned to my father. Still want to protect her? He shook his head slowly. What do you need me to do? Call Margaret. Tell her to bring everything she has to the reception. And Dad? Call Mom too. She deserves to know what's coming. As he left to make the calls, Olive pulled up the reception venue's floor plan. Caitlin booked the same place you were going to use, she said. She's even using your original decorations. I smiled grimly. Perfect. Then we know exactly where everything is, including the projector system. What are you planning? Caitlin wants to put on a show tomorrow night? I picked up my phone, typing a response to her message. Let's give her one she'll never forget. To Caitlin, looking forward to it, sis. You're right. It's definitely going to be a night to remember. The morning of the reception, Olive helped me into a sleek black dress, a far cry from the hospital gown I'd been wearing a week ago. You sure you're strong enough for this? She asked, adjusting my necklace. Before I could answer, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Kylie? A woman's voice, unfamiliar. I worked with your sister at Marshall & Brooks law firm. Yes? I've been following what happened to you. I have something you need to see. She paused. Caitlin left her work laptop logged in one day. There are emails about your accident, about everything. 20 minutes later, we met her in a coffee shop. Sarah, a paralegal, pulled out a USB drive. She planned everything months in advance, Sarah explained, showing us emails dated well before my accident. Look at this one to Adam. The email detailed a step-by-step plan. How to tamper with my brakes, which hospital I'd be taken to, even how long I'd likely be unconscious. She researched medical journals, Sarah continued. Found exactly what kind of accident would put you in a coma without killing you. She even had a backup plan if you woke up too soon. My hands shook as I read through the emails. Why are you showing me this? Because she did the same thing to me. Sarah pulled up her sleeve, revealing a nasty scar. 3 years ago, when we were both up for the same promotion. My accident wasn't as elaborate as yours, but... She shuddered. She's dangerous, Kylie. More than you know? My phone buzzed. A text from Quincy. Everything's set up at the venue. You need to see this. At the reception hall, Quincy led us to the control room. Multiple screens showed different angles of the ballroom. I've tapped into their presentation system, he explained. When Caitlin tries to show her fake evidence about your mom, we can override it with everything we've collected. Including this? I held up Sarah's USB drive. Especially that. He grinned. Also, you've got to see who just arrived. On one screen, I watched Margaret walking in, clutching a large envelope. My father met her at the door, taking her arm. Behind them, my mother entered, head held high despite her obvious nervousness. They're all here, Olive whispered. Are you ready? My phone buzzed again. Adam this time. Please don't come tonight. I can explain everything. Then Caitlin. Heard you're planning something. Don't embarrass yourself, sis. You can't win this one. That's what she thinks, I muttered, then turned to Quincy. Show me the guest list. He pulled up a spreadsheet. Nearly everyone from your original wedding list is coming, plus some extras. Looks like Caitlin invited half her law firm. Including Sarah? Front table. Perfect. I checked my watch. 2 hours until the reception. Olive, call Margaret. Tell her to wait for my signal before showing those documents. And Dad. Already on it. Olive held up her phone. He's keeping your mom away from Caitlin until everything's ready. Another text came through, this one from an unknown number. Your sister ruined my life too. I have proof. Check your email. Then another. Caitlin destroyed my career last year. I saved everything. And another. You're not alone. We're all coming tonight. I showed the messages to Olive. Looks like Sarah spread the word. Good, she replied grimly. The more evidence, the better. Quincy's computer pinged. They're here. Caitlin and Adam just pulled up. On the screen, I watched my sister step out of a limousine, looking radiant in a designer dress. Adam followed, but even from this distance, he looked nervous. Audio's up, Quincy announced. and their voices filled the control room. "Stop worrying," Caitlin was saying. "Everything's perfect. By the end of tonight, everyone will know the truth about Rachel, and Kylie will be too humiliated to ever show her face again." "But what if—" "No what ifs. We've come too far to back out now. Just stick to the plan." I watched them enter the venue, my sister's confident stride, Adam's reluctant shuffle. "Kylie?" Olive touched my arm. "Last chance to back out." I shook my head, typing out one final message to Caitlin. "Break a leg tonight, sis. You're right. Everyone will definitely know the truth by the end of this evening." "Places, everyone," Quincy said, checking his monitors. "The show's about to begin." I straightened my dress, feeling the weight of Sarah's USB drive in my clutch. Let's give them a finale they'll never forget. From the control room monitors, I watched the reception hall fill with guests. Caitlin worked the room like a professional politician, her laugh carrying through Quincy's microphones as she moved from table to table. "Testing the presentation now." Caitlin's voice came through clearly. "Everything ready?" Her assistant gave a thumbs up. "All set. Your speech is loaded and ready to go." "Perfect." Caitlin smoothed her dress. "In 30 minutes, everyone will know exactly what kind of woman Rachel is." Olive squeezed my hand. "Ready?" I nodded, watching my mother sitting stiffly at her table, my father hovering protectively nearby. Margaret sat 3 tables away, clutching her envelope like a lifeline. "Movement at the entrance," Quincy reported. "Sarah just arrived. And, wow." More people were filing in. Faces I recognized from the emails. Former colleagues of Caitlin's, old classmates, even a former boyfriend. Each carried folders or phones with evidence of her manipulations. "They all came," Olive whispered. "Of course we did." Sarah's voice crackled through our earpieces. She'd agreed to wear a wire. "We've been waiting years for this." Adam approached Caitlin, looking increasingly nervous. "Maybe we should wait. Don't you dare back out now," she hissed, grabbing his arm. "After everything we did to get here?" "But Kylie is probably still crying in Olive's apartment." Caitlin's laugh was cruel. "Now get ready. It's showtime." The lights dimmed. Caitlin took the microphone, tapping it for attention. "Friends, family, thank you all for coming tonight." Her voice dripped honey. "Before we celebrate, there's something important I need to share. A truth that's been hidden for too long." I pressed my earpiece. "Dad, get ready." "Mom," Caitlin continued. "I know this might be hard to hear, but everyone deserves to know what really happened 30 years ago." The projector screen lit up behind her, showing doctored emails and fake documents. "Now, Quincy," I whispered. The screen flickered. Suddenly, instead of Caitlin's fake evidence, security camera footage played, showing her tampering with my car brakes. Gasps filled the room. Caitlin spun around, her face draining of color. "What? Who?" The footage changed to her secret meetings with Adam, then to her threatening emails to Margaret. "Stop this," she screamed, but more images kept coming. Documentation of every person she'd hurt, every life she'd ruined. "Security!" she shouted, but no one moved. I stepped out of the shadows, my heels clicking on the marble floor. "Hello, sis." The room fell silent. Adam stumbled backward, looking like he might faint. "You want to talk about hidden truths?" I moved toward her. "Let's talk about how you orchestrated my accident. How you planned everything down to which hospital I'd be taken to." "She's lying." Caitlin grabbed the microphone. "She's just jealous because Adam chose me." "Actually," Sarah stood up, "we have proof. Your work emails, Caitlin. You really should learn to log out of your computer." One by one, people stood up, holding their evidence. Margaret rose last, opening her envelope. "Tell them who you really are," I challenged. "Or should I?" "You don't know anything." Caitlin snarled, but her composure was cracking. "I know everything." I took the microphone. "About Margaret. About the affair. About how you threatened Dad to keep quiet. But mostly I know about the accident. Your exact words were, find out exactly what kind of impact would cause a coma without killing her. Right? The color drained from Adam's face. You said it was just to delay the wedding. Oh, Adam. I turned to him. Want to tell everyone about the gas station receipt? The one from right after my brakes were cut? He backed away from Caitlin. You told me she'd only be hurt enough to miss the wedding. You promised. Shut up! Caitlin screamed, lunging for the projector controls. But Quincy was faster. The screen filled with her own words. Detailed plans for my accident. Calculations of impact force. Hospital research. Everything. My mother stood up slowly, her voice shaking. Caitlin, how could you? How could I? Caitlin laughed hysterically. How could you raise me believing I was your daughter? When all along, that's enough. My father's voice boomed. Margaret, show them. Margaret stepped forward, holding out the DNA test results and birth certificate. The room erupted in chaos. Phones came out, recording everything. Adam stumbled toward the exit. And Caitlin. Caitlin stood frozen, watching her carefully constructed world crumble around her. You think this changes anything? She spat at me. You think this makes you win? I smiled, holding up Sarah's USB drive. Oh, sis, we're just getting started. You want to know what's on this drive? I held it up, watching Caitlin's eyes track it like a snake following prey. Every person you've ever hurt. Every scheme. Every accident. Including what really happened the night my brakes failed. Adam tried to slip toward the exit, but two of Sarah's colleagues blocked his path. Going somewhere? Sarah called out. Maybe to delete those texts about helping cut the brake lines? I didn't. Adam's voice cracked. Caitlin said it would just be enough to delay things. Play it. I nodded to Quincy. The projector flickered to life again, showing security footage from the garage. Adam's face, clear as day, keeping watch while Caitlin worked under my car. You could have killed me, I said, my voice carrying through the silent room. Both of you. It was her idea. Adam pointed at Caitlin. She planned everything. Caitlin's laugh turned hysterical. Of course I did, and I would have gotten away with it if these pathetic losers hadn't ganged up on me. She gestured wildly at Sarah and the others. You think your little evidence matters? I'm a lawyer. I know how to— Not anymore. A new voice cut in. An older man in an expensive suit stood up. Caitlin, as managing partner of Marshall and Brooks, you're fired, and we'll be cooperating fully with the police investigation. Police? The word had barely left her lips when the reception hall doors opened. Two detectives walked in, badges visible. Caitlin and Adam, we need you both to come with us. You can't prove anything. Caitlin backed away, bumping into a table. This is all circumstantial. Actually, one detective held up a warrant. We have your detailed plans, witness statements, and security footage. Plus, tampering with vehicle brakes shows clear intent to cause bodily harm. This is ridiculous. She turned to our father. Daddy, tell them how Rachel drove you away, how she— Enough. Margaret stepped forward. I've stayed quiet for 30 years, watching you hurt people. No more. She turned to my mother. Rachel, I'm so sorry. For everything. Mom stood shakily. All this time, you knew? I wanted to tell you. Margaret's voice broke. But Ivan paid me to stay away. And then Caitlin found me. Threatened to destroy my life if I didn't help her. Help her what? Mom demanded. Help her destroy your reputation, I explained. She was going to use forged documents to make it look like you knew about the affair all along, like you helped cover it up. Mom turned to Caitlin, tears streaming down her face. I raised you, loved you. How could you? Love me? Caitlin's voice turned venomous. You loved perfect little Kylie. I was just the reminder of your husband's mistake. Well, guess what? I decided to take everything from your precious daughter. And I did it. For 3 whole weeks, I had her life, her fiancé, everything. And now you'll have a cell. The detective stepped forward with handcuffs. Caitlin, you're under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy, and fraud. No. She backed away. Adam, tell them. Tell them it wasn't supposed to go this far. But Adam was already in cuffs, being read his rights by the second detective. Wait, I called out as they led Caitlin away. One last thing. I walked up to her, close enough to see the mascara running down her cheeks. You wanted my life so badly. Here's the truth. It was never about me. You could have had your own happiness, your own love, your own future. Instead, you chose revenge and hatred. And now, you have nothing. You think you've won? She snarled. This isn't over. Actually, it is. I held up my phone, showing her the live stream count. Everything that just happened. It's already viral. Your confession, your schemes, everything. The fight drained from her face as she watched the view count climbing. Take her. I nodded to the detectives. As they led Caitlin and Adam away, the room erupted in chaos again. Phones buzzed with notifications as the story spread. Reporters who'd been tipped off rushed in, cameras flashing. My mother collapsed into my father's arms, sobbing. Margaret stood awkwardly nearby until Mom reached out and pulled her into the hug. Well, Olive appeared at my side. That was quite a reception. Not quite finished, I said, nodding to Quincy. He pressed a button and the projector showed one final image. A photo of Caitlin's office computer displaying emails to a hitman she'd contacted the week before my accident. The reporters went wild. Some backup evidence. I explained to Olive's shocked face. In case she tries to wriggle out of the attempted murder charge. Remind me never to cross you, she whispered. I watched as the police car carrying my sister disappeared into the night. Let's get out of here. I think this party's over. The morning sun streamed through Olive's apartment windows as I packed the last of my things. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Attempted murder case. Caitlin pleads guilty, faces 15 years. You sure about this? Olive leaned against the doorframe, watching me zip my suitcase. Positive. The settlement from the law firm is more than enough to start fresh. I showed her the flight confirmation on my phone. Paris is waiting. A knock at the door interrupted us. My mother stood there looking nervous. Can we talk? I nodded and she settled onto Olive's couch. Margaret and I had coffee yesterday, she began. We're working things out. She showed me pictures of Caitlin as a baby. Mom, you don't have to. Let me finish. She took a deep breath. For 30 years, I loved that girl like my own. Finding out the truth, it doesn't erase that love. It just makes everything more complicated. She tried to kill me, Mom. I know, and I'll never forgive her for that. She wiped away a tear. But I need you to know something. You were never the perfect daughter she claimed you were. You were just mine, my baby. And watching you almost die, I'm okay now. I squeezed her hand. And I'm not running away. I just need a fresh start, she finished. I understand, but promise you'll call? Every day. Another knock. This time it was Quincy holding a manila envelope. Final copies of everything, encrypted and backed up, just in case. Thanks for everything. I hugged him. Both of you. I couldn't have done this without you. Actually, Olive cleared her throat. There's one more person you should thank. Sarah stood in the hallway, looking uncertain. Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to say goodbye, and, well, this came to my office. She handed me a letter. It was from Adam, written from jail. Kylie, I know no apology can ever be enough. The truth is, I was weak. Caitlin manipulated me, yes, but I let her. I chose to help her hurt you. And I'll regret that choice every day of my sentence. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that you deserved better. You always did. He took a plea deal, Sarah explained. 5 years plus testimony against Caitlin. My phone buzzed again, a text from my father. At the airport, Margaret's flight just landed. Your mother invited us both to dinner next week. Healing takes time, but we're trying. Be safe in Paris. Love you. Look at that. Olive smiled. Your crazy family's actually talking to each other. Speaking of Paris, Sarah pulled out her phone. My cousin owns a gallery in Montmartre. She's always looking for fresh talent to photograph her exhibitions. Sarah, I started, but she held up her hand. You're starting over, right? Might as well do something you love. You were always happier behind a camera than in front of one. She was right. Before all this, before Adam, before the accident, photography had been my passion. I'll think about it, I promised. Car's here, Olive announced, checking her phone. As we headed down to the waiting taxi, I took one last look at the life I was leaving behind. The hospital was visible in the distance, where I'd woken up to find my world shattered. The courthouse where Caitlin would soon be sentenced. The venues and places that held memories, both bitter and sweet. You know what the best revenge is? Sarah asked suddenly. What's that? Living well. She handed me a business card. My cousin's gallery, just consider it. In the taxi, Olive hugged me tight. Promise you'll send incredibly smug photos of you living your best Parisian life? Every single day, I laughed. My mother pressed something into my hand, a small velvet box. Inside was her favorite camera, the one she'd used to document my childhood. For your fresh start, she whispered. As the taxi pulled away, I watched them waving through the rear window. My mother, Olive, Sarah, Quincy. My real family, the ones who stood by me when everything fell apart. My phone buzzed one final time. An unknown number, but I knew who it was. You think you've won, but you'll never be free of me. I'll always be your sister. I smiled, typing back. No, Caitlin. You're just someone else's daughter who tried to steal my life. And failed. Enjoy prison. Then I blocked the number, turned off my phone, and opened my mother's camera. Through its lens, Paris waited. And with it, a story that was finally, truly mine to tell. Ready? The taxi driver asked as we approached the airport. I looked through the viewfinder, capturing one last shot of the city I was leaving behind. Ready?